beta blockers. There's this whole class of things that we've been abusing, if you will, in the medical industry, over prescribing to people to numb systems when really what they need is to actually plug in and feel more. So we made the conscious decision to go from numb, using alcohol, street drugs, pharmaceuticals, to what's the most we can feel? Can we fully connect to this thing and fully enjoy it? And that was the big thing, is when we made that decision, we figured out how beautiful this whole thing could be. And once you figure that out, you want to share it with everybody. So we went around just finding as many people as we could. And we treated over 1,000 people in our Canyon City clinic in the last year and a half. Openly, we have a spot on Main Street, downtown Prisonville, USA, Kentucky, and we openly dosed over 1,000 people there. And we're able to get outcomes that we never even predicted on things like autoimmune diseases. We shifted people's lupus, MS. I've seen people with lame arms get function in their arm back. I've seen people who were in a wheelchair who couldn't walk get functionality in their legs back. It mostly works by giving workarounds to the nervous system. So a lot of these injuries we have are projections of the psyche into the body. And if nobody's ever read The Body Keeps the Score, it's a brilliant book. It empirically breaks down the reason why psychedelics work. It doesn't bring up psychedelics necessarily very deep in particular, but it talks about how we need these workarounds because these injuries we have, many of them are a psychological plant that we've put in our body. That's why people have like a knee injury from high school, and they're like, man, this thing's bugged me since senior year in high school. Well, that thing structurally been fine for 30 years, but they planted regret, shame, and all the other things into that injury. So by giving psychedelics, what it does is it gives a psychological workaround to the shame and the regret and the things that have been planted in there, and then it frees it up. Because we all have what's called a default mode network. And that's the thing in our nervous system that creates behavioral and thought patterns. So if we did something one time when we were, say, 8 years old, and the brain thought that that gave us success, it cements it into your system. And we do that for the next 50 years. And we go, this brought me safety at one point, so I'm going to keep doing this behavior, and I'm going to keep doing this thought pattern. And then when given a small amount of psychedelics, it dissolves those really rigid patterns that we've created. And suddenly the brain goes, man, I could have done that and that and that. All these options were available to me, but my mind refused to see them because I was stuck in this safety mode, thinking this one path was the only way. So that's a lot of the reason why these things work, is they dissolve that default mode network and give your entire nervous system this workaround to start choosing new, better paths, more advantageous paths than what we've been using.
I love that. When I think a big portion of it is that you guys allow the opening of the opportunity to then do some more of the work, right? Like I remember when I sat down with you the first time, a big portion of it is like those ruminating thoughts too, right? And how you can help break out of that just like ruminating thought pattern and give your brain, again, just that alternative lens. But it doesn't stop there, right? Like there is more to just, you can't just take a psychedelic and then everything is magically better, right? And so talk to us a little bit about what that process looks like and how you guys kind of help people along with, okay, so here's the psychedelic, this is gonna alter your reality in some way, then what do we do from there?
So we always say you can't just do the medicine, you've got to do the work. And what that means is psychedelics give you neuroplasticity, right, which is a cool catchphrase that we use. What that means is it does break down that default mode network, and it gives your brain the option to take on new patterns or to slough off old patterns that weren't working for you. But if you go back into the same life patterns, it's going to pick up or maybe even solidify some of those patterns you didn't want. So if you take a psychedelic and then go drink alcohol, for example, all it does is solidify that same reward system. But you guys are already doing one of the greatest things, right? You can take a psychedelic, and then the next day you show up, you work out, and that becomes so solidified as your reward system that the brain goes, that's what we need to be doing every day. So if you've got something that you want to take on, say you're new to working out, you'll probably all have friends you've been trying to drag in here. First time they come, they do some psychedelics that week and the brain goes, oh yeah, why haven't we been doing this all along? Because now I feel the way I should. So we do a lot of things to encourage these new behaviors. So one of the big